Hello and welcome back to Podium Pop. My name is Celine and I'm here with my co-host Gracie. We are a motorsport podcast and we did have quite a busy weekend.
We sure did.
We have Formula One Academy, as well as Indycar and Indy Next to go over. So definitely, if you don't already follow us on social media, make sure to go follow us on TikTok, on Instagram. We also post our episodes on Spotify and YouTube, so make sure you're following us there as well. We post every Monday, sometimes an extra bonus episode, so definitely follow us to make sure you are aware of those bonus episodes coming out. Today we are going to cover Zandvoort for Formula One, and we're going to briefly talk about the Portland race for IndyCar. Wasn't much to talk about, but we're still going to touch on it.
We'll touch.
So let's go ahead and pop the bottle and get right on into it.
Let's do it. Oh,
Bad.
it was okay from both of us. You really got to get that audio bite.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Formula One first. Let's start with before the race. So we are coming off of summer break. And summer break was very chaotic at first and then pretty quiet. But we did get some news this week. You want to talk a little bit about that?
We sure did. On Friday morning, we all woke up. If you are in America like us, 5-6 hours afterwards. But we found out that Jack Doohan is officially signed to Alpine for 2025.
Thank goodness.
So
we were waiting on it.
Oh, I think everybody was, for sure. I would just like to say that that is another Podium Pop stamp of approval because we said he was going to be announced the week of the Dutch Grand Prix. I said Monday. You said Thursday. But
it came Friday.
We still got it right, though. It's so exciting.
Very exciting.
Now marks 2 rookies confirmed for the grid.
Yep, and already the relationship between Pierre and Jack, they did a lot of, interactions this week.
Yeah.
I think in preparation of the announcement and then also after the announcement. And the vibes, very different.
In
a good way. In a good way. No, yeah.
Oh, okay,
I mean, compared to Pierre and Esteban.
Well, yeah.
So I think it'll be a good lineup. And I think Pierre is a good person for Jack to kind of learn from. But I also think that Jack is going to be good for Pierre as well. I think he's going to push him a lot.
I think so, too. I'm super excited. I guess kind of along the same vein, there were rumors that Kimi Antonelli was going to drive FP1 for Mercedes in Monza, which is next week. And then it was officially announced, I think today or sometime this weekend, that it's official and he will be doing FP1. There are also heavy rumors that he's going to be announced for the Mercedes seat. And along with that, Toto Wolff just spoiled it for us.
Yeah, Toto Wolff basically in a interview, it wasn't a recorded interview, but it was a written interview, basically was talking and he said, even in the interview, writing it was I think he did a slip of the tongue because he said the words.
Yeah.
Next year we're going to focus on developing both of our drivers. We're going to try to give a good car to both George and Kimi.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, Toto, what? What?
He's like, you guys already know.
Yeah. So that happened. So basically, kind of a third announcement. 3 rookies confirmed. Not confirmed, but basically for next year.
2 confirmed. Toto's yapping away, telling us there's going to be 3.
Which Toto's going to yap.
And you know who else is yapping? Helmut Marko.
Talk a little bit about that.
Helmut Marko came out and said that Liam Lawson will be in one of our cars in 2025. Helmut and Christian clash
they
a lot of times.
Have very different plans for Red Bull, and they need to get on the same plan.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
they're telling the media 2 different things. Because if it was up to Christian, I think that it would stay Max, Checo, or no, I think it'd stay Max, Daniel. Maybe Checo, or
Checo.
He likes Checo too.
He does like Checo. I don't know.
I don't know what he's got against. I think what he's got against Liam is the fact that Helmut wants Liam in there, and he doesn't want what Helmut wants.
I think all year him and Helmut have been butting heads.
So who knows? The RB seats aren't confirmed for next year. Technically,
Just
the Red Bull
Yuki
seats are. Oh, Yuki is confirmed. Yeah. Oh, that is true. So everyone thinks that Liam's gonna be in RB, and it's really gonna be up. Daniel couldn't. He could just not be here next year.
I think they're just going to drop Checo at the end of the year and then put Daniel in the Red Bull. I hope so.
Yeah, I think. I think that they would have done it already if it wasn't for the whole scandal with Liberty and all that.
Carlos Slim, whoever you are.
Yeah. So that's you know, a thing. Speaking of rookies, throwing it back to Haas, we do have some Haas news. Not to do with Ollie, I was just a transition.
Oh, yeah.
So, Haas...
You guys.
The scandal of all scandals. Like, imagine I'm just a normal Haas worker. Going in, you know, back from summer break, fresh, ready to go get some points in Zandvoort. Oh, all of our cars and all of our assets and everything that we have to our name gets detained by the Dutch government.
The Dutch government says you cannot leave.
You cannot leave this country until you pay your debts. Specifically the debts to Nikita Mazepin's father from back in 2021 when Nikita Mazepin drove for Haas. Eek is right. They owed what, like 9 mil?
I think so.
9 mil.
Like crazy.
Crazy fucking amount of money. And Haas isn't a rich team by any means. I mean, Gene Haas is rich. But they're not a rich team by any means. So they apparently paid it.
On Friday,
but obviously, like, I guess with the banks or whatever, there's no confirmation that it went through, that it got approved. So they're basically, like, the race is over. They're all packed up, ready to go, and they cannot leave the country until Monday morning when they get confirmation that everything went through and that they're allowed to leave.
I just hope it comes through quick, because
they got to be in Monza. And what? They got to be there by Thursday. That gives them, like, what, 4-day turnaround?
Yeah.
And that's giving them some grace.
Yeah. So,
Haas is Haas, doing Haas things. And you know what, though? Like, I just really, truly imagine, like, when I'm at work and, like, a crisis happens, like, I'm like, oh, my God, like, this is crazy. Like, I got to take care of this. Imagine being a Haas worker.
Oh, literally.
Imagine being the first one to find out about it and being like,
I wonder who, like, was it Gene? Who was it? Was it Komatsu? Like, who found out first?
Yeah. I would love to be a fly on the wall when they found out.
No.
Like, I don't know if it came through an email or what, but they probably got the email and they were like, damn, this is going to really ruin the vibes for this weekend.
It's going to ruin the tour.
It's going to ruin the tour. What tour? The world tour? The literal world tour.
But also, like, Gene Haas being stuck in America because he can't leave, so.
Yeah.
It's kind of a par.
It's a trend with the team.
It is a trend with the team.
Some other funny... this is a rumor, but there are some rumors and some speculation going around about a possible strike happening with the Alpine team.
Oh, yeah, I saw that and I didn't read more into
it. I don't know much about it, but, like, I'm not surprised. It's Alpine.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers to Ollie and Jack next year.
Yeah, poor guys. Kimmy's like, guys, it's fine. We'll be fine. And Ollie and Jack are like, ha ha, okay.
Well, all of the Merc sponsors stepping out because Lewis is leaving.
Yeah, so maybe Kimmy should be a little concerned. But he's got Toto. Toto will take care of it. Yeah, for sure. George, he's got it. They got Tommy. So yeah, is that all the little funnies that happened before the race actually started? So
before we get into the race, we need to talk about FP3.
Yes. So, obviously, over summer break, it was announced that Carlos was taking the Williams seat, which obviously means that Logan will not have a seat for next year at Williams, probably anywhere, but definitely not at Williams. So, already, vibes for Logan, probably pretty low.
Yeah.
And it just gets worse from there.
During FP3, we woke up to this news, because once again, it was
heartbreaking.
Early for us. You actually broke the news to me. Logan, it was like raining, it was wet. Logan spun out, hit the wall. Somehow the car caught fire. A lot of people have been saying this, and this is what I think personally too. Why was that car catching on fire for that? Yeah. Like, I feel like even the Monaco crash with Checo, like, that didn't, I don't know. It was, why is that car catching on fire?
We're not saying we're suspicious, but we're suspicious.
Like, that shouldn't be happening.
But it's a Williams.
It's a Williams. So. Logan crashed in FP3. He got out. Luckily, he was fine. It was really scary. Honestly, it was scary, but it led to the coolest picture.
No, yeah.
Of him jumping out of the car while it's on fire. That was pretty good.
The fire behind him. He's, like, strutting away from the car. You're like,
yeah, it was pretty sick.
He'll be okay. You know, if it doesn't work out as a race car driver, he could definitely be a model, so.
Yeah. Action model?
An action model.
Like for Marvel movies or something? They put him as a stunt double?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. So then, obviously, it was a big crash. His car was totaled. They could not fix it in time before quali, but he just didn't start from the back, though, because of...
So, quali happened.
Yeah.
And a couple things happened in quali. So, one, Lewis didn't make it to Q3.
Yeah.
That was one thing. And then some penalties. So, Alex Albon had a great qualifying. He qualified in, eighth?
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, some things happened. So, Alex did get disqualified from qualifying.
Yeah.
So, Williams brought upgrades. With the new upgrades, they had a new floor. And after qualifying, when doing the inspection, they found that the floor was slightly too big.
Yep.
Which caused Alex to be disqualified from qualifying.
So sad.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah,
Disqualified from qualifying.
I'm not even going to try.
So, that's really unfortunate. So, already, Logan wasn't participating in qualifying, and then Alex got disqualified, which means they both started from the back of the grid.
Yeah.
Another thing to note is that Kevin Magnussen started from the pits.
Yeah.
Because he was finna be in the pit. He started from the pit because of, power unit. So, a couple of things happened. And then another thing that happened in qualifying is, although Lewis didn't make it to Q3, he still did get a penalty for impeding against Checo.
That's right.
And so, he got pushed back as well. And it was silly. But
it was silly.
But Lando qualified first.
Lando got pole.
He got pole, and then it was Max, and it was Oscar.
After he got pole, we were sitting there, and we were like, okay, like, yeah. And then I was like, I don't, like, feel any different. And then I was like, well, I don't know. And then we figured out, this is what should be happening.
Yeah.
Like, this McLaren is there. They should be getting
like,
pole.
we expected.
It was, like, normal, how normal I felt.
We were so calm about it, too. Like, we're like, oh, yeah, Lando got pole. Yeah. Like,
when, like, the first time we got pole this year, we were, like, jumping out of our seats. But now it's, like...
Well, and another thing, like, we talk about this a lot, but, like, you think about it, like, to last year, if Lando got pole as Zandvoort, like, I would be, like, throwing a freaking party and being like, okay, guys, like, we're going to Zandvoort.
Book your flight.
Book your flight now. Because, but, like, now we're just, like, it happened, and Oscar was third, and we were like, could have been a 1-2, but, like, we were, like, disappointed by it, which we talk about a lot, and, like, just... grateful that our team is doing good.
Yeah.
But, like, it's also just, like, now when they don't get a 1-2, we're like, shoot, this sucks. Which leads us into the race.
It sure does.
So, the race. A little, dare I say, a little boring.
Yeah.
I will say it was a little boring.
It was a little boring. They need to show the midfield more.
Yeah.
Now, one time they tuned into the midfield and they were like 3 wide with a fourth coming up, and there were so many cars there. And it's like, why weren't we on this the whole time?
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, they needed to be there when Lando passed Max. Mm-hmm. And then Lando started gaining. I loved watching it.
Yep, absolutely.
It's my favorite driver winning a race and leading. But, I don't know. Give us a picture-in-picture situation. Switch to the midfield for a bit. Like, there was nothing happening up front.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Yep. So, the race was really, again, so we all knew that Lando was going to be shit at the start, which he always is.
I'll defend this, though.
Okay, yep, go ahead.
It was something with the McLaren, because Lando had the same reaction time as Max to the start. Mm-hmm. Max jumped ahead, and Oscar did the same thing as Lando. It's like something in the car's traction, or...
Yeah, and I think Lando, even Lando was like, Oscar's one of the best starters on the grid, and he had an issue with it,
Oscar
too.
said the same thing in interviews. He was like, we both had this, I'm not sure, like, we gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
So, Lando had a better start than he normally does, given the fact that the car didn't help.
Yeah. Because it was, so basically how it started is Max pulled ahead, so that when it first started, it was Max, Lando, George, Oscar. So Oscar lost a place as well, and Lando lost a place. Yeah. So already we're like, eek, a little nervous, but we're like, it's a long race. We shouldn't have been too nervous about Lando. The pace was there.
It was so good.
He caught up to Max so quick. Like, within, 10 laps or something, he was already ahead of him, led the rest of the race.
We need to talk about the Red Bull after this, too.
Yeah, we'll discuss that. Oscar, for the longest time, couldn't get around George. Some things shifted. he never did make it back up from 4th, which was disappointing. I mean, he did with like pit stops, but eventually, like when it all came out in the wash.
Yeah. Good phrase.
Thank you.
I haven't used or heard that phrase in a while.
Yep.
Wow. All right.
Daniel Ricciardo used it in an interview.
Oh, is that where you remembered it?
Well, maybe that's where I heard it from.
Love that.
Daniel teaches me vocab. But yeah, at the end of the day, Oscar stayed in 4th. Again, it was a pretty boring race.
Yeah, it was pretty boring.
A great race because
I don't even think we said this.
Lando won.
Hell
yeah, Lando won.
Let's go,
Lando. Lando is okay. Let's go, Lando. He is here to stay.
He races like a lion. Shouldn't he be Dutch?
Shouldn't he be Dutch? A perfect song for this weekend.
Perfect song.
Oh, I was just gonna say about what he said when he won.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let's talk about the race. We'll get there.
We'll go.
So, Lando ended up winning, and the podium was Lando Max Charles, which also for his first win was Lando Max Charles.
Yep, same order.
It was pretty great. The McLaren also brought upgrades this week. After summer break.
They were quick. They were the fastest car on the grid.
They were the fastest car, 100%.
And, we've said that before, that they're the fastest car. Other people have said that before, but McLaren's never, been confident enough for Lando and Oscar to come out and be like, we are the fastest car until this weekend. They were like, Lando won by 22 seconds.
22 seconds.
That's some Max Verstappen shit right there.
Literally. When last year he finished, he didn't even finish on the podium last year, I don't think.
Great stuff.
Rats, what was I gonna say?
I don't know.
Not my little noggin floating away.
Any crazy things happened in the race? No, no crashes.
Finished, no safety car. I saw the stat. Oh, I meant to write it down. I forget. It's been a while since a safety car.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, I remembered what I was going to say, too. Okay. Lando talked before summer break. He was like, I just need a reset. I need a break. I need this. And I don't know what he did. That break, it worked for him.
It was the beach trip with the wild boars.
The wild boars. It probably was.
The wild boars put a spell over him.
Yeah, probably. But it was perfect. He did great. He had, an amazing race. And then at the end there, he said, oop, I've got some battery. My tires are fine. Let me just go for fastest lap.
Put it together. Fastest lap, yeah.
So our man did a grand slam. He got pole. He won the race. He got fastest lap. And he got driver of the day. That doesn't matter for the grand slam, but he still got it.
He still got it. And you know what?
Hilarious.
He did it, and it was really, the perfect example of what the McLaren can do.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was no safety cars. There were no issues.
Yes.
You could not blame it on anything else
all on merit.
other than Lando's a great driver and the McLaren's a great car.
Yes.
Those are the only two things.
For sure.
And, again, it just also proved that Lando's a great driver because
sure did.
Oscar had the same car. He got in 4th. He had some issues with some traffic and some dirty air. I think that if some slight changes were to have happened, it could have easily been a McLaren 1-2, and I think both of them could have cleared it.
Yeah,
20
for
seconds.
sure. Oh, yeah, 100%. I just would have loved to see what would happen if the car didn't have an issue at the start.
Yeah. It does give me hope for, future races.
Oh, yeah.
And for the rest of the year, honestly,
so much
we
hope.
are only 40-something points off of the Constructors' Cup.
Yeah, we're not too far behind at all.
Let me pull it up.
Standings.
Yeah, so we're 30.
Oh, 30.
We're 30 points off of Red Bull for the Constructors' Cup, which is crazy to think about.
Insane.
Because if McLaren can pull out the Constructors' Cup, it would do a lot of good for Podium Pop's interests. Because this is a trickle effect. Not only do I just want McLaren to win the Constructors' Cup, because McLaren's my team, obviously.
Yeah.
But the trickle effect that would happen, McLaren wins the Constructors' Cup, which means Red Bull doesn't win the Constructors' Cup.
Yeah.
I think that everyone in all of Formula One and all of motorsport would agree that it's not Max Verstappen's fault that Red Bull didn't win the Constructors' Cup. It was Checo's fault. They dropped Checo. They moved Daniel Ricciardo up. They put Liam Lawson in RB. Liam has a seat for next year, and that does a lot of good for Podium Pop because we love Liam Lawson.
It sure does. It also does
a win-win-win-win. And I do want to see Daniel and Red Bull only because I would love to see Daniel and Max be teammates again.
I'd love it.
I would also love to finally see, like, should Daniel still be in Formula 1? And I think the only way that we're going to know for sure if Daniel deserves to be in Formula 1 is if you put him in a Red Bull. And if he fucks it in a Red Bull, then, okay, he's out next year. Like, it's pretty easy decision, you know?
Yeah, I think so, too. So, we need to talk about Lando's chance for WDC.
Mm-hmm.
If Lando wins every single race till the end of the season, and Max gets second, that's including sprints. Max gets second in every race, plus Lando getting a minimum of 5 fastest laps, Lando can win the championship by 1 singular point.
It could be scary. It could be scary.
So
that's
scary.
not even considering, like, if Max has a bad race. Like, if Max DNFs any race, or if he's, like, farther down in the standings, which we've seen, like, literally the last couple of races, we've seen him down in P5, P6. It's possible. It's been happening.
We have Singapore coming up.
Yep. In Singapore, we just know that it's not Max's strong suit. It's not Red Bull's strong suit. So, we could have a fight in our hands. It's still a little far-fetched.
It is, for sure.
But each thing that happens, we get a little less far-fetched.
Yeah, and a little more excited.
And again, like, right now, like, my priorities on, like, rooting for, because obviously I'm going to root for Lando, obviously, always. But, like, I want McLaren to win the Constructors' Cup. I do want Oscar to overtake Charles.
For sure.
In the driver's standings, because he's only, like, 20, not even 20, he's 13 points off.
Yeah.
I think he could. Ferrari is so inconsistent as well that they could easily have one bad race. Oscar, I would love for Oscar and Lando to be in the top 3 of the driver's standing, and I would love for McLaren to win. And if it happens that Lando wins and Max is in second and Oscar's in third, it happens. It happens. You know.
It would just be so good.
But also the fact that Max is definitely my 3rd favorite driver.
Yeah.
So if all 3 of my favorite drivers
for sure.
would be in the top 3,
that would elated.
It would just be fantastic.
I'd be elated.
I'd love it. I'd love it so much.
Speaking of Max, let's talk about that Red Bull. That car not turning.
No, at all.
No. If you have not, I would highly suggest going back and watching Max's onboard. He is fully moving that steering wheel, and the car is just not turning.
Bless his heart. He's trying so hard.
He is trying so hard. And listen, if Charles wasn't there in 3rd, I feel like Oscar really could have easily got him. Blah, 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 if, whatever.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Anyway.
No, I think, the Red Bull, there's something going on. And even Max talked about it. The balance is off.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that if it was anybody else driving that car other than Max, they would have been much further down in the standings. And again, it does just prove that Max is a great driver.
It does.
It also proves that Checo's not a very good driver.
Where did Checo finish this race?
This race, he was in, I've got it right here. He ended in 6th, so not horrible, but, like, not what Red Bull's looking for.
Yeah.
He ended behind both McLarens and both Ferraris. And when you're in a Constructors' Cup fight, you can't be doing that. Now, Mercedes kind of shit the bed, too, because they definitely had the pace the rest of the weekend.
They did.
And it all fell apart during the race. They ended in 7th and 8th. And, you know, Hamilton obviously had a bit of an excuse because his fell off during qualifying, and then he had the penalty and all this stuff. But George, he started in, what, 4th?
Yeah.
And he dropped all the way down to 7th?
Yeah.
The race pace must not be there for the Mercedes like they thought it was.
Might not.
Or is it the drivers? I'm interested. I'm really interested to see what Lewis can do in a Ferrari next year. Because Ferrari's so inconsistent, and Lewis doesn't do good with inconsistent cars. He's proven that. You know, some people can adapt to inconsistent cars pretty well. Lewis is not. He very often has complained about inconsistencies with Mercedes, which is one of the reasons that he's leaving. But to go to Ferrari of all places for consistency,
the prancing horse wanted to get there. And once again, great segue. Ferrari, Charles did fantastic for what that little shitbox of a car is.
He was shocked. He was shocked by him, the progress that he made.
Yeah. That was great. He did a great job. Once again, just displaying.
He even specifically said, drivers. In the after race interview, he's like, I'm normally very unhappy with the P3, but for what I was expecting coming into this weekend, I'm good. I'm good with the P3.
This is great. Yeah, no, he was.
Max kind of said the same thing about P2 as well. Max was like, this was better than I was expecting. So.
Did you see when Max and Charles first went into the cool-down room and Lando wasn't there yet? Charles was like, how far behind did you finish? And Max goes, 20 seconds. Charles' face was like the shock on his face was crazy.
Yeah. Let me just say this.
It's so fun.
It's so fun for me as a McLaren fan to be alive in this moment.
And also all the people being like, this car has to be illegal. Zach Brown is such a scumbag. I know he's doing something illegal with the car. Somebody was like, girl, Zach Brown doesn't build the car. And she was like, they were like, I don't know.
He's such a scumbag. Meanwhile, it pans to Zach Brown after the win, and he's like, number one. Like, he's so Zach Brown's, he's done a lot of bad things. But every time I'm like, damn, he's a goofy guy. He is goofy as hell.
They're all beefing on Twitter. Meanwhile, Fred is taking photos of Lando's dad in Park Ferme. Lando's dad doing that was cute. It was really cute.
Lando with his parents this weekend was so cute because he wasn't expecting his mom to be there, and his mom was just in the crowd
at one of the fan zones.
At one of the fan zones, and he was like, "That's my mom."
And everybody was shouting, and then they were like, "Lando." She was shouting too. It was really cute. Yeah. And then he goes, "Oh, what?" And then looks over, and his mom was just in the crowd. He was like, "My mom." Yeah. It was so sweet.
And then his dad being there whenever he won, because his dad wasn't there. Neither of his parents were there for his first win. So the fact that both of his parents were there for his second win was really cute. Yeah. It was very cute, very demure,
very mindful.
Mm-hmm. Anything else about the race?
Need to talk, not the race, about the repercussions of Logan's crash. Because we, excuse me, once again have rumors that he's going to be replaced. Right now, the rumors, Mick Schumacher and Liam Lawson.
Listen, I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
I love Logan.
I
love Logan. I love that boy so much.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to replace him, I want it to be Liam or Mick.
Yeah, for sure.
Preferably Liam, because I think he deserves to get some reps in. And I think it'll help his chances of getting a seat secured for the next year.
Yeah.
But I just feel so bad for Logan. But at this point, it does kind of feel like Logan's over it.
Yeah, he's so over it in interviews.
Even in the team torque, he was talking. He was he was joking, obviously, but Alex was like, yeah, I texted to see if Logan wanted to hang out over summer break. And in my head, I'm completely taking everything out of context, I'm sure. But I'm sure it was right after the Carlos announcement happened, and Alex felt bad and was like, hey, want to hang out? And Logan was like, fuck that. I'm not going to respond to you right now. I just lost my seat. And you probably knew about it the whole time. And then they had the interview at the presser before the weekend started on Thursday. And the guy was like, the interview was like, would you consider being a reserve driver for Williams? And he was like, it depends. But in his head, he was like, why the fuck would I do that?
Why would I stick around for this team?
What? Because there's just a lot of faults.
So, just about an hour ago, we had rumors that James Vowles went to Christian Horner after the race and talked about using Liam Lawson on a loan, which would also suck because they were teammates in F2. That'd be horrible.
Yeah.
Also, there was people talking to Mick and his family members this weekend. I don't really know how Mick would work because of WEC. He has a race next weekend.
Maybe Logan could just fill in for him at WEC. They could just swap.
Because of the Alpine endurance team. Are you shitting me? And then there's I don't know. So it obviously wouldn't be if it's Mick,
I think it'd make more sense for Liam.
It would make so much more sense
and
for Liam.
Again,
and that's just if Christian's willing. I feel like Christian would be more willing than Helmut.
Yeah.
To put him in.
I actually think that they would both be willing to just see what he does.
Really?
See what he's like. I thinking about it as a team principal, obviously you have to have a really secure contract for it, and there's, you know, it'd be different if there wasn't a secure someone already secure in that seat for next year, like, because I'd be like, maybe they're gonna try to steal him, but Carlos has already signed, Alex has already signed, like, there's no way that the person they bring in temporarily for now would be taking over that seat. 2025, and I would be like, actually, yeah, I'd like to see how he can do in a Formula One car and what he's looking like.
That's a good point.
So maybe they'd be more willing to just kind of get some data.
We also got to remember it's a Williams, so nobody take it seriously. Quite literally.
But we have seen Liam Lawson come in and absolutely kind of show up his teammate before. He came in, Yuki was well versed with the RB. He showed him up. It would be really interesting to see how Liam does in a Williams compared to Alex.
It would.
Like, obviously, we wouldn't get much data compared to other cars, but compared to Alex, it'd be interesting to see what he's looking like.
Very interesting. So, I don't know what's going to happen with that.
I mean, it could happen any moment, too.
No, like, literally.
We could wake up tomorrow. Morning.
James Vowles pulls a fucking Zach Brown.
This episode, the number 6 car in IndyCar, this episode could be fully posted, and then 10 minutes later, it could come out that Liam's driving for Williams in Monza.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Also, I think this was a rumor for sure. It was for sure. I saw that Jack might be driving with 2 different numbers. One of them was confirmed. Oh, okay.
I didn't hear about this.
This was a rumor. The first one, it was like Jack Doohan announced that he's going to be driving with the number 69 next year.
Oh, I did see that. That's so silly.
Now, then he did like an Instagram live or something, and he was like, I forget what he said. It was a teen number, I feel like. 12? Is there already a 12? It might have been 12. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. So silly. What are we doing here?
So silly. Very silly.
Very
silly. He's a grown-up. He's got a PR team.
Yeah, they're not going to let him
do that. They're not going to let him do that. Like,
sure. Unless it's like has a very special meaning to him. I'm sure they don't let that number fly.
Yeah, it's probably not happening.
Probably like 42 as well. Just add on a 0.
Yeah. 420.
Next week is Monza. Happy for the Tifosi.
I know. I am not a Ferrari fan by any means, but I can respect the Tifosi.
Oh, for sure.
They always bring just a level of chaos to all of the races. I said the same thing about like the Checo fans in Mexico. Like, they bring so much passion and energy that like you can't help. Like, God, when they're racing in Monza, like, I do root for Ferrari slightly. Like, I'm like, God, I would love, like, not really because they're so close to McLaren.
You can appreciate the passion,
but like, I would like be happy if like Charles or Carlos won, because I'd be like, damn, the Tifosi are gonna be so happy. Same thing if like in Mexico when if I want Checo to do good, because the fans would fucking love it, and I'd be so happy for him, and like just feeling that they're like, oh my God, I'm at the race, it's their home race, and this is happening. It's so exciting.
You can't help it.
You always got to root for the hometown hero. At the end of the day, I always do. Well, except for this race where I did not root for Max. It's a little different though with Max because he wins every other race.
I think in the beginning I a lot was like hometown hero, but now that it's like,
well, when it gets close,
points are I'm sorry, I don't want Charles to win. I want Oscar to beat him in the points.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody safely.
Yeah. Okay. What's your champagne pop? Let's do your champagne problem first. Champagne problem for the week for Formula One.
Mine could be controversial.
Okay, say it.
I'm gonna give it to Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he got stuck in some dirty air and unfortunate situations, but I'm gonna give Oscar the champagne problem for the week.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my champagne problem to Haas.
Yeah.
Because Buddy's $9 million in debt. It's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem for sure.
I'm going to give an honorable mention probably to Alex. And again, all of the problems aren't necessarily driver's fault. Yeah. Just in general surrounding it.
Yeah.
Shitty. Because it'd be different if like he qualified in like 17th and then got disqualified.
Yeah, that's fine.
He qualified in 8th.
Yeah.
Imagine he started on the 4th row.
Gosh.
He could have picked up some really good points for Williams. And the fact that it was like he fell so far, I think, earned him my honorable mention.
That's so fair.
Problem.
The Williams car wasn't too bad.
No?
And that's going to lead me into my champagne pop.
Okay.
Sorry. My champagne pop. I'm race champagne pop, nothing else. I'm going to give it to Logan. Because he held off Yuki for so long. Mm-hmm. And once again, this is kind of harping back on show the midfield battles.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see what's going on with the midfield. Nobody knew until the race was over how long Logan held off Yuki. Yeah, sure, Yuki still did get past, but it's a V-carb against Williams. But he did a great job in holding off Yuki.
Yuki ended behind Logan.
I think Yuki passed him at one point, and then it swept back. Or maybe he held him off the whole race. Actually, I could have made the race wrong. Anyway, he held off Yuki.
Yep.
And I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I think it'd be too easy to give it to Lando.
I think it would too.
But I just know I'm very proud of him.
Course.
22-second lead, hell yes. But I'm actually going to give my champagne pop to Charles.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because he really came in expecting the worst, and he got podium, which is fantastic. Awesome. For what, like, we all, like, even, you know, not only just us, but all of the drivers, like, in their, you know, post-qualifying interviews, everything that was said, everything that everyone that was talking about everything, everyone was like, it's the McLarens, it's the Mercedes, both of those, and it's Max, and those are the contenders for for podiums. And Charles was like, hello.
Hi.
Don't forget about me.
Real quick.
Hey, can I join?
And he did.
Yeah. And he got podium. So I'm going to give my champagne pop to him.
I love that. We didn't have the same ones this week. I love that.
That's great for us.
I know.
Any predictions for Monza? I got a prediction.
Go ahead.
Liam Lawson winning. I'm just kidding.
He
wins his first race back in a Williams.
Imagine, like, Liam does the same thing. Comes in, makes it to Q3 in a Williams.
I actually do have a prediction. Yeah. Seriously, about Liam Lawson.
Okay.
Well, one, the prediction is that if Liam Lawson is driving for Williams, I think that he is going to out-qualify Alex. I do think so. I think he's going to pull a fast one.
I think he really could, but...
I'm calling it. He's out-qualifying Alex.
I think there's a chance it's taking an adjustment to drive a Williams.
Yeah.
And also last year he
took some time.
He also had a bit of an advantage of driving in Super Formula. So not only was he doing sim work, he was, like, in a car too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he definitely could.
It would be crazy.
It would be wild. To see.
Imagine he out-qualifies Daniel and Yuki. I'm just being silly now.
I think we'll have a McLaren double podium.
Yeah. Get both of those bitches on the podium together. I need them both on the podium because they've only been on the podium together once this season. And it was after a very tumultuous.
You love that word.
Tumultuous?
Yeah.
Do I say it right?
Yeah.
A very tumultuous race.
You're saying it too much?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
I need them on the podium together after a good, clean, happy race.
Yeah.
And I need it to be a 1-2, actually.
I think there'll be a Merc back up there.
Oh, who do you think? George or Lewis?
Lewis.
Okay.
I don't know. Max also could do good.
But
it's gonna be so. I feel like it's easy right now to be like, oh, McLaren's up there, da 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 da. Mm-hmm. But I want to see how this continues to go. And obviously, they were the fastest car this week. It doesn't always translate track to track. Hypothetically, they should be the whole rest of the season.
Yeah, they really don't have an excuse.
No, they don't. They have more upgrades before the end of the season. So, I don't know. I want to see how it goes. I do feel like there'll be a double podium. Fingers crossed. What if they just went back and forth like on Oscar? Like, I'm not saying like for the rest of the season, but like...
Well, listen, why not? Rest of the season, back and forth, Lando, Oscar. Oscar wins next, Lando after that.
As long as Max is done their P3?
Yeah. It'll work. It'll be fine. I wonder, though, if it will get to a point where they're like, if it is Oscar Lando, and it gets down to it where Lando needs to get into the lead to win drivers.
I think they would call team orders.
They would call team orders. I think
honest,
Oscar would.
Oscar would do it.
Oscar has enough sense.
He does.
To know, like, damn, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to let Lando go.
Yeah.
And if it's the other way around, it'd be a little dicey. But that's not happening right now. Oscar's nowhere near
it's not happening.
Winning drivers.
Lando's learned his mistake.
Yeah. I think so as well.
Yeah, no, I for sure think.
But
that'd be
good.
So
anything else for Formula One?
No, should we touch on our Formula One Academy winners real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to talk?
First, the first race for Formula One Academy got delayed because of rain. So it was postponed to the next day. So they had 2 races on Sunday. Early start. We got
early
home.
For us.
We had like a friend's housewarming party. We got home from it, and I was like, "Oh, the Formula One Academy race is starting." I fell asleep while watching it.
I woke up to a text message from her at like 2 a.m. being like, Formula One Academy race coming on. I'm going to watch it. And I was like, is she really?
Oh, I felt right.
She didn't.
The formation lap took too long, so. Abby Pulling won the first race, and then Dorian Pin won the second race.
Woohoo!
Very exciting.
I love both Abby and Dorian, but I was really,
Chloe.
I'm a Chloe girl because, you know, USA, let's go.
It would have been great to see Chloe.
Obviously, I like Leo Block as well.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help it.
Love Leo.
I've never had so much patriotism in my life. It's the Olympics, and it's motorsport.
Yeah.
It's not motorsport. It's just Formula One. Because, side rant, I feel so passionate about people succeeding for the United States in Formula One because they always get pushed aside so easily.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously Logan, Leah, Chloe, you know, Jack in Formula 2. Like, I love when they do good. But, like, in IndyCar, like, I don't root for American drivers over the other drivers on purpose. Like, I mean, a lot of the drivers I like, I guess, are...
I was going to say, you like Kyle and Colton.
I like Kyle, Colton, Dave, like, all of them. I think Pietro technically drives under the Brazilian flag, although he's grew up in America. But, like, I don't really think about it for IndyCar.
Yeah.
But, like, for Formula One, like, specifically, I'm like, I can't help it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Our Formula One Academy top 3 in the standings right now are Abby Pulling, Dorian Pin, and Chloe Chambers. So, that'll be interesting to see.
Do you have the points up? How far off is Chloe to Dorian?
Chloe Chambers has 89 points. Dorian Pin has 119. Abby Pulling has 190.
So, Abby is just like, we can't catch her.
Not at the moment, no.
Chloe could catch.
Just 2 good races.
How many Formula One Academy races are left? Do we know?
Left, we have Singapore, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi.
Okay, 3 races.
Yeah.
It'll be tough.
It will be tough,
but we're going to work on it. So I would love for P2 for Chloe. Although, but I love Dorian.
It's hard.
Can't we all be winners?
It's the friends we made along the way.
Exactly.
So the next time we will see Formula One Academy is in Singapore, which is at the end of September. So it'll be
here before we know it.
Honestly, it really will.
Because we got some pretty busy weeks coming up, which leads us. Are we done with Formula One Academy?
Yeah.
Which leads us right into
IndyCar.
We're not going to touch too much on Indy next, mainly because I didn't follow it.
Yeah, I couldn't. There was a lot going on.
Jacob Abel won.
Yep.
Which is great. We actually saw. He won last weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw him win last weekend as well. We were there in person seeing him win. But so that's your only Indy Next update there.
Go Jacob.
Yeah, go Jacob. But IndyCar, another bit of a boring race.
It was.
I was expecting a little a little spicy at the beginning. But it was a little
straightforward.
It was very straightforward. So let me start out by
we should
first
talk
of all
about
doing
qualifying
this
really quick.
And if you're listening on Spotify, what I'm doing is I'm changing my hat over to Pietro.
We'll touch on qualifying first because qualifying was so interesting. We had none of the Aero McLarens made it
Ooh, it
far.
was bad.
I think the highest starting was Rossi in like 19th or something, or 17th.
Yeah.
And then Pato and Nolan were both finishing lower, which that's not a good weekend qualifying for them. Also, Dave didn't qualify best.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for those. Marcus Armstrong qualified great, so I was really happy about that. Pietro qualified good.
Okay, so, well, let me just touch a little bit on Pietro. So, he was like, what, was like a 0.2?
Yeah.
Less than 0.2 off of making it to the next round, which would have put him in the top 12.
Yep.
Which would have been amazing. It could have put him in a completely different part of the track, which could have really solved all of my issues that I had.
That's true.
Over the race. But he ended up qualifying. I think he started in 13th.
He did.
But he did really well. This was actually a really good track for him, and I'm really disappointed, spoiler alert, about how the weekend ended up for him.
Yeah, he had an issue with Scott Dixon in the beginning, also involving Kyle Kirkwood.
Yeah.
It was like Kyle and Scott.
He got a penalty for it, a drive-through penalty.
Close.
I personally don't think it was fair. And you know what? Scott Dixon agrees with me.
Yeah, Scott said it was Kyle's fault, not Pietro's.
Basically what happened is Scott had to avoid contact with Kyle. And so he went off a little bit to the left. And because of the left, he counter-corrected, I guess, and went too far to the right, squeezed Pietro a bit. Pietro should have backed out, but he didn't. Because he was already, like, riding.
Squeezed.
He was, what?
Already being squeezed.
He was already being squeezed, and he was also already riding, like, the curb. He was, like, in the fucking air. Like, he couldn't really do much.
Yeah.
He had nowhere to go. And so because of that, he bumped Scott. Scott spun out into the wall. He was okay, but it was a pretty nasty crash.
It was.
Because it was at one of the barriers that was just concrete, and which I don't understand about IndyCar. Is there concrete barriers in some places? Because there was, remember, a couple, I mean, it was like months ago at this point, but Joseph Newgarden had a nasty crash, and if he would have crashed like 10 feet forward, it would have been straight concrete. It would have been horrible. I don't understand how IndyCar still has concrete barriers and not like stuff in the middle or like tires or something. But anyways, that's a whole other story. IndyCar does a lot of great things compared to Formula One. That made me work on that a little bit.
Not that.
But, so Pietro got a drive-through penalty for that. Which, again, Scott Dixon agrees with me that he shouldn't have gotten a penalty. Pietro obviously was very frustrated on the radio when they told him that he was getting a penalty. Regardless, that happened. Less than, like, 2-3 laps later, he also has... Who was he running into?
Couldn't tell you.
He ran into another person. Was it... Oh, it was Connor Daly, I think.
It was Connor Daly.
So he had an incident with Connor Daly. This one was his fault a little bit.
It was.
But he basically had like a collision with him. Not a major one. They like bumped wheels a little bit. And then Pietro had to like drive off the track a bit. And he also got a drive-through penalty for that. Should have served it. Should have been fine. If it wouldn't have been for the other one, he still would have been great. He qualified so... He qualified so great. And I think he could have come back from one of the drive-through penalties. He couldn't. There's no way he could have come back from
that's hard.
There's no way. There's no way. He was out before it really got started.
Yeah. A lot of
super disappointing.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward.
It also didn't help that there wasn't a lot of other, which didn't help, which this is a good thing, but there wasn't a lot of other like collisions or issues or incidents at all throughout the rest of the race, which caused everybody else to still be in front of him. There was one other like major incident where Romain Grosjean like spun out.
This was stupid.
So stupid. Spun out and then tried to rejoin in a very stupid way. Fully just got like Christian Rasmussen was literally driving around the corner. He rejoined right into him.
What are you doing? What are we doing here?
And then, you know what? Whenever Christian ran into him and Romain spun out again, try to do it again.
Yeah.
Luckily, they avoided action. It was fine. But that did cause Christian and Romain to be behind him. So, technically, Pietro finished in 25th with Scott Dixon, who he got out, and then Romain and Christian behind him. Not a great race for me.
Great race for Marcus, a great race for me on that end.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy. So, it ended up being Will Power winning, Alex Palou in second, Joseph Newgarden for finishing up the podium. 2 Penske's on the podium. Blah, boring.
Not my favorite.
Not my favorite. And you know what? Let's switch it up. Let's get some variety in there. 2 Penske's on the podium. Been there, done that literally last weekend. Let's move on. And a Chip Ganassi, too. Different order.
Yeah.
And different people.
Yeah.
But 2 Penske's and a Chip Ganassi. Joseph's he was there for both. Colton was in 4th. Marcus Armstrong was in 5th. Marcus Ericsson was in 6th. So Andretti picked up some good points for that.
Yeah.
Santino Ferrucci, who did get pulled during qualifying, ended up dropping all the way down to 8th.
But he's an AJ Foyt, like, where...
I mean, honestly, AJ Foyt, I am really happy for, like, the mechanics, the teams there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It just does give us hope for David next year.
Yeah.
Still no word on if it's going to be Ferrucci as his teammate, Stinger Rubb as his teammate, or a different person as his teammate.
Ferrucci talked about it, too. He was like, this is...
And I think, honestly, like, Ferrucci did really... I don't love Ferrucci as a person.
No.
But I think he did really, like, this was... If he was trying to save his seat, this is the weekend that he needed to have.
Yeah, for
sure. It was his first pole. Graham Rahal did really good. RLL was... They did... This track was great for them.
Yeah.
And again, it was just really unfortunate that Pietro had the race that he did. Disappointing. Christian Lundgaard did good. He was in 13th.
What did Yuri do? We didn't even talk about that. So, RLL added a 4th car for Portland and added in Yuri Vips to the seat.
He ended up in 19th.
Okay. He got 19th.
So, not horrible. I mean, for his first race in IndyCar with this, yeah. He's done IndyCar before, but this is, this season. He did pretty good. So, Linus, from 3rd to 23rd, there were some issues there. Aaron McLaren didn't do great this weekend.
We don't gotta talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, Dave was in 20th. He started out the weekend bad, though, with a grid penalty because of his engine
He also
updates.
talked about how he asked for, like, a different kind of setup, and that just didn't help them for qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
He fully was like, that's my fault.
Yeah.
So
all in all, though, it was a pretty, again, like, there was
straightforward.
The Pietro Scott incident, the little bump with Pietro and Connor, and then the Roman incident. But really, other than that, it was pretty quiet.
It was
pretty quiet racing.
We got a bunch of racing next weekend. So, like we said, Formula 1 is in Monza. And, Formula 2 will be in Monza.
We didn't do our champagne pop.
Oh, yeah.
What's your do your champagne problem first for IndyCar.
Roman.
Yeah,
what are you
fair enough. I'm going to give it... Yeah, Roman. I'm going to...
What?
I'm going to give it to Pietro. I love him. Don't get me wrong. He had a rough weekend. I had multiple people text me and be like, Celine, you're man. I said, I know. Proud of him still. He did good. He did what he could from it, but I am going to give him my champagne problem.
There you go.
And then your champagne pop.
Marcus Armstrong. He made up a few points. And I'm going to be honest, I don't feel like giving it to anybody else.
Yeah, it would take a lot for me to give it to a Penske, and I don't think I could physically bring myself to do that. I'm going to give it to Alex Palou. I think he got some good points that are going to help him in the championship. For
sure, yeah.
He needed this good weekend, so.
I'm going to give an honorable mention just to Scott McLaughlin for cold qualifying and then getting a grid penalty as well. That did not help.
No.
But I'm going to give Scott McLaughlin a champagne pop because I have absolutely loved watching him live tweet watching Jersey Shore all week.
Oh, yeah.
That has been the greatest thing ever. And
absolutely.
I personally am watching Summer House, so it is my goal to get him to watch Summer House next. Because it's not the same chaos.
It's a different type of chaos.
It's a different type of chaos. It's good.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's like more of like a modern chaos, but the same vibe.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we said, next week for Formula 1, there is Monza, and we have F2 racing there. We have Kimi Antonelli doing FP1. Yep. Could be announced that he's going to be a Formula 1 driver next year. We'll see.
Any day. What day do you think? Call it now.
If they're announcing Kimi next week, they'll do like Tuesday, Wednesday.
See, I think...
you could be right, too.
I think that they may announce it Saturday morning. I think that they're going to wait until FP1 to announce it. I think they're going to announce it after he completes FP1.
Yeah.
Because I think if they announce it before, if he does really bad in FP1, it's going to overshadow that. But I think if they announce it Saturday morning, it'll be good.
I can also see them closing out the weekend doing that. I don't know how often that happens.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Wake up race morning? That'd be kind of crazy.
Or no, like, race happens.
Oh, race
Media
night.
is done. Race night.
But and then you would think maybe they wait till Monday, but then they still want to do it in Monza, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm going Saturday morning. That's my bet.
I love that. We could wake up to see that Liam Lawson is driving.
And again, I love Logan. I love Logan so much. I would be excited to see Liam race again, mainly because I think Logan at this point is checked out.
Yeah,
I think that he doesn't want to be there anymore.
He's got senioritis.
He got some major case of senioritis.
Yeah, he sure does.
And I think that it would do more good to see Liam get some reps in than it would be to have Logan suffer. Put him out of his misery. It would hurt. I'd cry for sure, but I think I would be excited about what we could see from Liam.
Yeah. And then next week we have for IndyCar Milwaukee, and it is a doubleheader. So there's 2 races. It's an oval. We are done with. We only have ovals for the rest of the year.
Yep.
So,
we only have 2 locations. We have Milwaukee, and then
3 races,
a week off, and then Nashville, which we will be at Nashville.
Yeah, we will.
So if you're going to Nashville, definitely let us know. Message us, DM us. Also, we're almost out of time. But if you know us and you're friends of us and you listen, comment below, because we found out that some of our friends listen and we didn't even know that they listen.
We didn't know.
Give us a comment. Tell us your favorite part of the episode.
Yeah.
Tell us what you're excited about. Tell us if you're going to Nashville. Connect with us. We'd love to hear from you all.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Great recap.
Make sure you're liking, subscribing, commenting once again, even if you're not our friend too.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. We want new friends. We love new friends.
We love new friends.
So
make sure you are going over and following us on our Instagram and TikTok. We post a lot there throughout the week. So you'll see some clips, other things, live reactions. We love to do that. But thank you for listening.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye.